Mr. Douglas.
Hello, Mrs. Phelps. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I hope you're all enjoying the tea.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you.
Anyway, before we get started, I'd like to propose a toast to a meeting of fine, good women. So, what were you ladies talking about before I came? Mary Jane.
Mary Jane, Mrs. Loftus, and I were all discussing Huck Finn.
Huckleberry Finn? Oh, what about him?
We were just talking about our experience with him. You spent quite some time with him when he was younger, didn't you?
Yes, I do believe I met him first. I met him, I've known him pretty much ever since he was little, always following behind Tom Sawyer and his gang of boys.
Well, Tom Sawyer, he's related to you somehow, right?
Yeah, he's my nephew.
Nephew, okay. Go on.
Yes. I ended up adopting him actually after he and Tom each came into a fair amount of money. I decided that he shouldn't have to remain with his father anymore, considering his father was pretty much the complete antithesis of a role model.
Wasn't his father a drunk?
Yes, he treated Huck awfully too, always beating him and cursing him. Not the kind of environment any boy should have to grow up in.
No.
It's a shame. Huck was a nice boy.
Yes, he was. A bit clueless when it came to society's norms, but that can only be blamed on his father. When he came into my care, he didn't know how to dress properly, eat with utensils even, brush his hair. He just didn't see the point of many things. He didn't understand that chewing tobacco in company was not polite. I do think I tried my complete best to educate him in the ways of the Lord and hopefully make him a productive member of society. I tried my best to learn him about God and his ways, and I taught him stories from the Bible such as Moses and the bulrushers, and I taught him several of the 10 Commandments, such as you shall not kill, you shall not steal, and you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male or female slave. Unfortunately, I don't believe he fully comprehended many of the teachings I taught him, such as the no stealing laws.
But he was really worried about not disappointing you.
Yes, though both my sister and I tried to teach him about the ways of the Lord, I was a bit kinder, and therefore he took a bit better to my teachings. But in the end, he was a good boy, but he wasn't quite civilized yet.
He surely was a good boy. I mean, I know he helped me out before. Like, do you remember those two men who went down the river?
The con man?
Yeah.
Royal Nonsuch.
Yes,
All
that
the business.
darn place. Well, when my uncle, who was my caregiver, when he died, they came and they said they were my uncles that we were expecting from England to come take care of us. And so we expected it was truly them. And so me and my 3 sisters flung ourselves at them. And we said, okay, if these men say they're our uncles, they're our uncles.
Why would someone lie about that?
It's especially at a time like that.
Yes.
And so we just assume, I mean, if a man tells you something, you listen to it anyway, but especially something like that. And we just assumed that it was true. And they cheated us. I mean, I felt really naive after it because to just assume. And Huck wasn't the only one who said that they were frauds. I mean, he told me weeks later, like he didn't come up front, but one of my uncle's dear friends, he was a doctor, and as soon as he saw the 2 con men, he said, you talk like an Englishman, don't you? It's the worst imitation I ever heard. You, Peter Wilkes' brother, you're a fraud, that's what you are. I should have listened to him in the first place.
It's alright though. You weren't the only one fooled. truly believe that that Huck was Tom, my nephew, when he came, because I hadn't seen Tom in a considerable amount of time since he lives up north, and Huck was very convincing about his story he made up to tell me.
You always was a good liar.
Unfortunately, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
And but he worried me quite some when at first, because when he first arrived, he told me that the boat he was on had blown out a cylinder, which is quite dangerous. So of course I asked him if anyone was hurt, and he said no, it just killed a nigger, which is such a good thing because I wouldn't want anyone to get hurt. Because could you imagine what I would have felt like if he or had gotten killed on the way
Yeah,
to
it was
traveling?
in your hair, technically.
Yeah.
Only imagine.
Yeah.
It's just all a lie though, because when I met him, he was dressed as a girl.
A girl?
Yeah, he made a horrible girl.
I
I realized it, but not before I was taken in enough to tell him all about how I wanted to go find the fugitive slave Jim. I mean, $300 is not, is not something.
Nothing to laugh about.
It's a considerable amount of money.
How did you know that it was really him?
What? But
That it
He
was
wasn't
really
a
hot.
girl.
Yeah.
it was plain from the way he held the needle. He tried.
Oh,
He was.
wow.
Yes. He didn't understand you're supposed to hold the needle still to poke the thread at it. He, held it the wrong way.
Boys don't understand
No.
this woman's house.
Yes. Yes, so I'd already told him all this stuff about, I'd been talking to this old couple, and I thought that hardly anybody goes over to that island over yonder they call Jackson's Island. And that it's not the niggers hiding out there. And I had to wait for my husband to come and tell, so I was telling, him all this because I was so taken in.
You wouldn't go to the island by yourself?
I wouldn't. Yeah, I would have to tell my husband. I had to wait until he got.
Was your husband going to go?
I told him. Once I told him, yeah.
Oh.
Yes,
But he didn't do it right away, did he?
no, I had to.
And so Huck got away because you told him.
Yeah. But anyway, and then so I wasn't quite taken in by that. But then once he told me that he was once I called him that he was a boy, and he did tell me another lie. He told me his name was George Peters, and that he'd been bound out to a mean old farmer, and his father and mother was dead, and that this farmer treated him so poorly he ran away, and I believed him on that.
Well,
Was he
we
really?
would have expected him to tell another lie after you caught him on it first.
Now we would feel a bit foolish about that.
Yeah.
I bet you even have told him not to lie to you after it.
Yeah, he even told me he was going to make a clean breast of it.
So you told him all about the slave?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not all slaves are bad. I had slaves working for my family for years, and they were all relatives. And when those two conmen came, they tried to split them up because they figured we was going to England. We weren't going to bring them with us. So they were going to split them up, I assumed. But something happened that made them do that. Maybe they would have kept them together if it weren't for that. They had taken the money that my uncle had left us, and they hid it in their mattress, I suppose. And they said that our slaves stole it from them. And I guess it was really Huck the whole time, but he wouldn't tell it because he was too scared. Classic. And so my slaves ended up getting in trouble, and they separated them and sent them down south. And when I first found out, I said, oh dear, to think that they ain't ever going to see each other anymore. Because I didn't feel right. I mean, it was weird that those two men were trying so hard to keep my family together, but they split up another family. I mean, even if it
They are
was
just
different, yeah,
I
a different
suppose
kind of
slave
family.
family should stay together.
Yeah,
But with their owners, not
well,
Yeah.
not on our own.
obviously.
And so I was so disappointed, but Huck eventually told me, and I got them back a few weeks later.
That's good.
Yeah.
Slaves should be returned to their owners. Like when Jim and Huck came to my farm, I was gonna try and return him to his owner, but it turned out that the pamphlet that I had seen with his rewards wasn't real, and he was really a freed slave all along. So while I was keeping him captive in my shed, I was kind to him and I'd still pray with him. But all along, Huck and Tom were trying to devise a plan to get him escaped for some reason. I'm not quite sure why Huck was so fond of this gym slave. After all, he was just a black man. But it really...
Too.
What?
And a runaway.
Oh, I know.
Didn't he maybe get in some awful trouble?
Yeah, and I'm not sure what Huck was thinking, but they scared me and my family awfully. I thought someone was trying to break into my house. I was afraid to live. I was that scared I didn't hardly go to bed or get up or lay down or sit down. I was afraid they'd steal the very, my goodness sakes, you can guess what kind of a fluster I was in. I hope to gracious if I weren't afraid they'd steal some of the family. It looks foolish now enough in the daytime, but I says to myself, there's my two poor boys asleep way upstairs in that lonesome room. I was afraid that these people were gonna harm my family, but it just turned out to be Tom and Huck playing a little adventure.
Well, yeah.
They are just boys.
I suppose boys will be boys.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, if that is all, I hope we can all do this again. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you for
Thank you for
having
having
us.
us. Oh, on our way, do you want us to bring our cups and saucers to the kitchen?
Leave it, dear. Just wait to look at it.